first time in your whole life? When was the first time that you ever felt a connection to Judaism or even heard about Judaism?
Oh, my parents were in Judaism before I was born, so I was like connected since I was birth. I feel connected since I was a child, and that's amazing.
Can you remember like a moment when you were a kid that really stuck out to you, where you said, "This is where I belong. This really resonates with me"?
There's a moment like in our community, like there's most of them were like Christians, so I mean there were only few Judaism family there, so it's very kind of hard, and they would always say like you don't belong here, and your practices like what you eat and anything like that were different. So that's what I feel about it.
Yeah, well, that must have been really difficult to be someone who's practicing as a Jew in a community where there's not really anybody else like you.
Yeah, and those songs like those songs of Shabbat and like Shalom Aleichem when you sing, and they used to hear us. But my dad used to say, "Don't you don't have to be shy. That's what we are." So we feel like we're what we are, and we're not ashamed of it.
I remember you told me that story how on Friday nights your family would sing Shalom Aleichem and songs on Friday nights, and that people would come from the community and they would come to the windows and they would listen to you singing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
So can you tell us some of the stories that were told to you at home about how your family was connected to the Jewish people, and what were the stories and some of the heritage that was given to you at home?
Like since I was a child, my parents used to say that we belong to we have some connection to a man called Menashe. We are descendants from Menashe, and there is a story like man used to. Not a story like it's a child play, something like a game where kids used to put something on their head, and everyone used to say, "Oh, there's something in his head." There, like God is like remembering him or something like that. I'm not surely remembering that. And
Wow.
they used to tell me about this, like songs of the Shira something like that in Mizo. That's in my mother language. So that's
Yeah, I
what I
remember
remember.
you told me about the similarities between the liturgy and the poetry that was from your family's descendants, and also the Shira Tayam, which I think is so interesting. It was like almost exact. I remember we wrote it in your chapter. It's almost exact.
Yeah, I see that. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And there's also like what do I remember from that? Oh no.
Shlomit, how old were you when you realized that being Jewish was a really big part of your identity, and it was something that you wanted to be doing for the rest of your life, and it was something that you were going to dedicate your life to embracing?
I mean like when I was little, when I started like class 4 or 5, something like that, and everyone used to ask me my name. Shlomit, what's the meaning of Shlomit? That like it's so unfamiliar in the place, so everyone used to ask me, what's the meaning of Shlomit? And I said, it's a Jewish name, and so I started believing that I don't belong there, and I have to return to my own homeland.
Wow.
That's the starting point. Like every time when I went to a hospital or in a school, something like that, they used to ask me, "What's the name of Shlomit? What's it's so different for them? It's so difficult for them to pronounce the name." So.
Wow. What did you know about Israel growing up? What did your parents tell you? What did you learn about?
Like they just told me, they just used to tell us that it's a place where we belong, like we don't belong in those places, and we have to return to those places.
Hmm.
I mean,
What did you think that Israel was? I remember we talked about this.
I think that it's like from since I was a child, that Israel was my dreamland. Like I used to think that it's a land where everything's perfect, where all those beliefs, like religious beliefs and all those things are perfect. But when I really realized that it's not, like, I mean, there's a lot of these things going on here and there. Like many of us are like religious and non-religious, that and all. But it's fine.
Yeah. Can you tell us what the beginning of your Aliyah process was like? How did it even begin?
My early process begins in 2014, and in 2014, if I'm not wrong, like March or April, like that, we had an interview with Dayanim. So the Dayanim came to our places, and we had an interview. And in those places, we get selected. And after that, and every time they used to say that might be a few months, only a few months left for you to make an Aliyah. So every time you have to get ready for that. It's hard, but we're going through it.
Can you tell us what it was like living at home with like, I'm trying to see how to phrase this question. I remember you telling me about how you lived packed up all the time because you were just waiting to get permission to go. So tell us what it was like to be living with like all your stuffs in boxes all the time, and how long did that last?
I mean that starts from like 2014 after that interview, and ends on 2017 when we met in Aliyah. And just before a week or a half a week that we knew that we have to make an Aliyah for real, and I still have a doubt. I mean, I told to my family, no, it's not happening. I mean, I already have plans, but they told me, no, it's really happening, and we have to submit your passport photos and all, and you have to make all these things going on, and that's it.
Tell us what it was like when you were that you were working at the time. You were teaching.
Oh.
He might have sent the thing to the.
We can hear you.
Okay. During those times, like I was working on school and I was teaching math and science in school.
You have to interview it?
I like every time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. And sorry, it's like we make an Aliyah in February of 2017, and March of 2017, my students they were about to have an, like what we used to have here, baccalaureate, like a final examination there. So I was stressed, and I really these times I think that I wouldn't be able to make an Aliyah because of those students,
from Bnei Menashe.
It's really stressed.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that you were marking tests, or you were preparing all the grades as you were like packing up to get on the airplane.
She wrote a book called Layers
Yeah,
about
wow.
women who came in
One second.
converted, returned to Judaism or something.
Who is there? Itzhak, can you mute yourself, please?
So can you tell us a little bit, Shlomit, about the flight itself? I remember you had some very special responsibilities on the airplane.
That's like we were distributed into two groups that I was responsible for the first group. So actually this is not the first time of my flight, but it's quite stress for me because I'm having a lot of stress during those times. Like I have to prepare questions for my students, and I have lots of things stress going on during this time. So being they give me those responsibilities. Zvi Kaute, he told me that you were responsible for this one flight, and I was so stressed out, and I don't know what to do. And moreover, our flight was like divided into like two parts, and we have to land on first to Guwahati, and after Guwahati we have to make in Delhi, and the other groups they have to make straight onto Delhi, but our group we have to land first on Guwahati first, and then we have to go to there on Delhi. So it's like it's so stress for me.
That was a lot.
taking care of one group.
You have those proposals from Avis.
There's somebody who's still. So tell us a little bit about what it was like when you got to the airport, like back when you landed finally in Israel. What was it like?
Wow.
What did you feel? Who did you see?
Well, it was quite stressed and amazing. Like I feel like my dreams come true. It's like at the end of the time, I feel so amazing. Like everyone was singing like Hatikva there. They were singing like whom do I met? They were my families. Like we not actually my families, but friends and those people which I've known from those times. They were singing and they were having some speech of welcome speech, like something like that. And wow, it's amazing. One of the most great moments of my life.
Yeah, you were reunited with some really special people, I remember.
Yeah, and they made some banners like welcome to Israel. They made so many banners about like welcome Bukim Abayim, something like that. And wow, it's amazing.
Tell us a little bit about the family that you left behind in India. And if you could give us an update on what's going on with your siblings.
Okay, we left there with my sister and my brother. My sisters, they have a family. They have 3 kids, and unfortunately, her husband passed off last year, and
Sorry.
yeah, sorry. So that's it. Now they're living. They're out there.
They're
Life's
living there.
difficult right there because of this corona.
Yeah, I can imagine. What's going on with your brother?
He couldn't have made the flight during the interview, so we just left him behind. We got no options, so he said, I'll just stay here with my job and I'll try to make it as soon as possible. I just hope that he'll make it.
Yeah, we're still waiting for them.
Bezrat Hashem.
So tell us a little bit about what it was like when you got to the Clito Center. I remember you were telling me specifically about the food and what it was like to adjust to it and the culture.
Like foods, yes, different cultures are having their own food. So me and my family.
Yeah, so you took the stuff out. I took out the football, and then when you called again and said
We can still hear you from me. Just someone is not muted. I'm gonna try and mute everybody and see if that helps. Hold on a second. I think that works. Shlomit, can you still hear me?
Okay.
Oh, she's good. Okay, I think I fixed it. Okay, great.
Okay, so I'll start it. Food and all this. In the beginning, it's difficult for me, and not only for me, for the whole community. Like they find it very difficult. Like they're, they're not get used to of these foods, like Israeli foods. So, but now it's okay.
Yeah, you
But
said,
we
I
still
think
have
you said that the flavor, there was like no flavor to the food. It was very bland.
Yeah, we feel like it's plain. Like we used to make so many like spices or something like that. And
they were giving you like white rice and schnitzel, right? It was like very, and cucumbers.
we love a lot like
Funny, I interviewed a lot of people who came to Israel, and they all said the same thing about the food was very bland. Wow. From Ethiopia, you said
from
this also.
Mexico.
You also said that.
No taste.
Everyone's like, they're like, why does the food here have no taste?
Thank like, God there are Moroccans.
I know, it was like the hardest part of the Clito process was the bland food.
Yeah, for my parents till now they have difficulties with this food, but at home we can cook it our own, so they were adjusting.
Wow. Could you tell us about how did Shavei Israel play a role in your Aliyah and your Clito process?
Oh, I'm not sure if I'm able to say that clearly. I'll try my best, but let's start. Is okay. They're always helping us. This Shavei Israel, and first time when I heard of this Shavei Israel, they were having their how do I say? They're organizing this seminar. So from that seminar, even me, I met so many friends. Like in my place, in my own place, I have no friends like in like Judaism friends. So from
Right,
the
back in
seminar,
India.
back in
Mhm.
India, and from that seminar, I met so many friends, and I feel connected more to the Jewish world, and that's great, very, very great for me. And after that, they used to have those seminars again and again, and they used to make us more connected with each other. And finally, they help us so much in our Aliyah process. Like, uh,
Oh, yeah, the seminars you're talking about were in India. Now I
yeah,
remember. That's what you're talking about. Yes, before you made Aliyah.
yeah,
Right. And then you met people from all over the area who were also going through the
yeah,
same process. Okay, now I
exactly.
remember.
Yeah, from that, I like people used to stay connected. Before that, I barely knew any those people, and
Right.
we stay connected, and it's so important for us for us to stay connected to each other. Like we are only those few peoples there, so it's amazing.
What kind of community did your family move to when you came here to Israel after you were finished with the Clito absorption center?
Uh, we moved straight to Nova Galil,
Mhm.
and so we like the community of the Bnei Menashe up there,
Yeah,
and
there's
there
a
is
whole
also
community, right?
and there is also a community before we there's like Aliyah in 2014, so we were mixing together, and it's great out here. So amazing, cool.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
tell us about your conversion process. What was that like for you?
Wow. I was a bit stressed in the time that like uh they we were since we were the first group, we were like we entered the interview before the Yanim on the second place. So everyone's like, what will they ask you? What will be the questions? Will I be able to answer that all? And it's like what I didn't even sleep on that night before I met those interviews. I was so stressed out.
Yeah. I
And
interviewed
I
like
was
I think 5 or 6 women for this book who converted through this process, and they all said the same thing that the interview process was so nerve-wracking.
yeah, it's quite nervous, and I have this little brother who's 14 years old during this time. No, 13 years old, and he was like he don't want to study, and I was always asking him those questions, but he always answer me with the right answers. It's amazing, and me, I can't even remember those questions. I was so nervous.
So how has it been adjusting to life here in Israel? What was different? What was exciting here? What did you discover here?
They find it amazing, but it's difficult for them to with like language for the
That was my
above
next question.
yeah, like 40 plus. Like people with those 40 plus, they have difficult in this, and also with their work. I mean, it's
Mhm.
difficult for them to understand what others people mean, and what for us it's quite easy for me. Like we are still young, and I can still
Right.
adapt with all this, but for them it's quite difficult.
For your parents, you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very difficult. Tell us a little bit. You went to school when you were finished with the whole process. You went to school. What did you do?
No, I don't went to school. I mean, like I was staying in a midrasha. Like
Mhm.
we were just studying about this Torahs and all.
Mhm.
And I stayed in. It was the midrasha was there on Malot, so I stayed in Malot around 1.5 year. And after that, I started working, and I worked for about like 7 months, and after 7 months, I started learning something like
Right, you went back to school.
yeah.
That's great. So you're and how's your Hebrew coming along?
Wow, I'm still playing hard.
Don't ask me the same question. I'm also a Nuala, so my Hebrew is also not as good as it should be.
Still trying out here.
Yeah, we're still working on it together. We'll get there.
Hope so.
So Shlomit, here's my last question. What are your hopes for the future here in Israel? For you, for your family, for your community?
Yeah, now I'm starting nursing classes, so I'll try to get on this first, and I'll see what's up next.
I mean, that's amazing. Well, the state of Israel will be lucky to have you as a nurse. And thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story in our book. Oh, should we show them?
Yes,
Of course. I'm going to show them your chapter.
Wow, I've read it. It's just amazing. I've read it both.
Let's find it. We're looking to find you.
We
You
need
know,
to
there are
mark it.
34. There are 34 stories in here. There's a lot to find. Shlomit,
Yeah.
where are you? I see you now. Oh my goodness. So, tell you a little bit about this book. We have here Shlomit. I love this photo of you. Yeah.
Thanks.
We have here a map of where you were from. Remember that day you showed it to me in the up here in the Shavei office?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and here's you guys boarding
Wow.
a plane.
I'm still on the way.
Let's see, there's one more. Where's there a picture of there's one more beautiful picture of you.
Wow.
This is a book of 34 stories of Jewish women who live here in Israel from all over the world. And Shlomit, thank you so much for sharing this all with us. We wish you much luck on your Clito process, continuing in school, in nursing school. It was so fun to see you, panim el panim, kind of.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so should we talk to Chaya now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, hold on a second.
Let's see.
Pivot.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Shlomit.
Shlomit. We can open this up a little bit. Like this. Okay, set there. Okay,
So
great.
nice to see all these people with us. I want to tell to all those that just connected now, and that we are here in Shavei Israel with Shira Lankin, the author of Layers, a book where Shlomi that just finished and me share our personal story. So also we have here some guests, very nice people.
Here's
Our friends of friends. Yeah, of course.
Everybody say hello. Hola.
Part of them students in the program of conversion. From Shavei Israel. And we are here to share stories, and this opportunity. I also want to thank Shira for this, too, Shira, because it's a very nice experience that I had with you. You forced me to write my story, and now after 2 years, it's like every time that I am reading, it's to live again, to live again, to feel this experience.
Yeah,
and
captured all those memories.
Really. Yeah. And also, I would like to make a suggestion to everybody to write his personal story, because there are many things, many details that afterwards you don't remember. And now that I have this treasure, thanks to Shira.
Thank you to you. Couldn't have done it without you, and couldn't have done it without Laura either. Also, wait, here's Laura.
Also,
Laura is the first chapter in the story.
My colleague in Chavez.
Laura works at Chavez. She's a very first story, and she brought me to Chavez and introduced me to Chaya and to Shlomit. So thank you to Laura for making all that happen. Couldn't have done without you. And Laura was the first person that you were the first one that we did. That was the first story that we did.
3 years ago more.
So over 3 years ago. Oh my gosh.
We recommend you this book. It's really inspiring, and you could learn from the experience of others also. And well, this is especially for women that made Aliyah. And today we are here in order also to speak about the conversion. So I want to thank everybody to be here, and Shira, let's do it.
Let's get into it. So today we're going to talk a little bit now about Chaya's story. Very, very special story. Okay. So the first question is, like I asked Shlomit, tell us where you're from.
Okay, I am from Mexico. I was born in Puebla. It's a city near to Mexico City. And yeah, my family, thanks God, I have a family in Israel like 35 years ago. So was a connection with the Judaism when it came from my family, from my mother's side. So they are here many years, and we always had a dream to come to Israel because we believe that in the family we have a Jewish roots because of my grandma who came from Spain.
From Valencia.
From Valencia.
I remember.
Good.
I remember all the details because I wrote them over and over again. So I remember all the details.
Remind me what happened.
I will. I'm like, I remember you told me that story. You had that memory. Do you remember that memory? Because I remember your memory.
Really? Okay. Yeah, so I was 19.
Yeah.
19 when I came to Israel. Was a wonderful experience, thanks God, because I think part of this is.
But we're jumping ahead. I want to know what it was like in Puebla. What was it like in Puebla in the household? I remember you're growing up, and it was kind of like they would do things that were different from the community, and you really wasn't sure what it was about. So tell us about some of those traditions or some of those things that you guys did.
Right. It's like you said, we feel different. Yeah. Because in Mexico, most of the people are Christian, so it's like against your beliefs. It's like always, okay, come to have a drink with us. I was 18. And I know I can because it's Shabbat, and no, I can, or come to a wedding to the church. So since I was a child, my mom was telling me like, better that you don't go. Hashem doesn't like that. So yeah,
and at home in the kitchen, there were some things also, right? There were some.
No home in the kitchens. We had a special pot for milk, and it was strictly forbidden to use it for any more.
And no pork, right?
No pork, strictly forbidden, and no jam. Sorry. How do you say?
I don't know.
Jam in English, please.
Anybody knows that word?
Seafood.
Oh, yeah. No seafood. So you're keeping kosher.
Yeah.
But you didn't call yourself Jewish at the time.
No. We believe that probably we have Jewish roots because of these traditions and the faith in one God. But it's very difficult to prove it because
Did you say also that your family only wore skirts? The women only wore skirts. Did I just make that up?
Right.
They did.
Right. Right. And something else. The woman was keeping nida after to give birth.
Really?
Yes.
I don't think I heard this one.
So this is very strange.
You held that back.
How many signals?
You need to write more.
How many signals and
that
you are like who we are? Why we do this and they don't? So I was wondering from 15 years old if I want to be Jewish.
So did you have any sense? I actually don't know this. Did you have any sense when you were younger that we do these things and those are Jewish things to do? Or was it that when you started learning about Judaism that all of a sudden you were like, hey, wait, we do that.
It happened with my uncles, my grand uncles, because when I started to participate in the Shabbatot classes of Torah, they were already converted and living in Israel.
Right.
So yeah,
so you already knew.
Yeah.
They figured it out.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah. Wow. So tell us about this moment. I'm sure there must be a moment that you can remember that you felt like really connected to your Jewish heritage. Is there something that like stuck out for you that said like this is something that I want? Like when did that happen?
And when I was in Israel already, because before that I wasn't sure if I want to make the conversion.
Right.
I also understood that it's a commitment, and anyways, I grew up in another very different environment, and it was very hard to make a switch.
Yeah.
Many changes, like I felt that when I was here already, but also because I can arrive to the family, my family
Yes.
that were more Haredi.
Yes.
So it was like 180 degrees. But slow, I started to study in a midrashah. So I met friends. It's like people.
And you were studying in Spanish,
like
right?
me in Spanish.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Which is so helpful from a cultural
Very
perspective
helpful.
to really
Yeah.
understand.
Exactly.
Did you start learning Hebrew at the same time?
Yes. Yes. From Aleph Bet. Yeah. And yeah, so I fell in love with Israel.
Yeah. Well, what I know you love Israel. What did you love about it?
Okay, first the people.
Yeah.
The people. I was very lucky because I met many people that helped me and were very kind with me and teaching me. I came here with just a couple of suitcases, and then you have furniture for your room and everything free because they are very supportive to Olim Hadashim, new immigrants. So Baruch Hashem. Also, I had my family that they were very, very supportive.
Yeah, that's right. You had a lot of family.
Yeah.
How much family did you have here when you got here?
Today, I don't remember, but today we are 35.
So crazy. And and everybody came from Puebla.
Yes.
And they built families here and they
They're getting married. They are spread.
They're spread everywhere.
Yes.
Ashdod.
Where we went? Estivot, Ashkelon, Jerusalem, Beersheba, Ofakim. No,
not very bad. Only the basin was the same, right?
Yes, the basin. Yeah, Jerusalem.
So, was there any talk about Israel at home when you were growing up? Or was it just about from your uncles? Like, what did your mom say about it when you were growing up?
My mom wanted to come to Israel when she was a child. So always we were like seeing news about Israel.
Really?
Yeah. We feel the connection. And when my first uncles came to Israel 35 years ago, we were like, someday we will go, we will visit, and they were inviting us.
So it was like your whole time growing up, it was like a place, it was like the destination that you knew you were going to go.
Right.
But you still have to choose.
Yes, someday. In that time, it's like to visit.
Yeah.
And when I visit, so I must to live here. It's like all the system is designed for Jewish.
So when did you decide that you wanted to be Jewish and that you wanted to make Aliyah?
Yeah, when I was in my first year in Israel.
Yeah.
13 years ago. And also 13 years ago. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's half of my life.
For a long time.
And Baruch Hashem, I convinced my mom because I was very happy, but
I know what you told me. You said specifically, this was the line you said, I came here and I looked around and I said, my mom would love it here. And then you called her up and you said, you gotta come. You're gonna love it here. This is the place for you.
Yeah.
That's really special.
And
but your sister and your brother, you were young.
Yeah.
They were young.
My sister Miriam, that is here with us.
Over here.
Do you want to say hi?
Miriam, say hi.
Miriam was 9 years old.
9.
A child.
When you came or when she came here?
When she came.
Yeah.
1 year after.
My daughter made Aliyah at 8.5. So it's a big thing to do when you're that age. Really big thing to do at that age. See, Laura knows too.
Oh yeah.
Laura's like, yeah.
Your daughter.
Well, she has, yeah. She has a lot. So okay, and your brother was how old?
Yeah, my brother came also, and he was serving in the army. There was a period, you need to remember. It's something nice to mention.
Please do.
My mother needed to come back to Mexico. Yeah, several things, and my brother and me stayed in Israel.
You were living together.
We were living together, and he needed to.
He was
to
a
go
Chayal
to the
Boded.
army. He was in this period a Chayal Boded, and he was a combat.
A lone soldier. A Chayal Boded is a lone soldier. Someone who comes to Israel to serve in the army without their parents being here. So because Chaya's mom was not in Israel at the time. He had Chaya Boded status.
Right. So this time was to Kaitan.
Yeah, it was Operation Protective Edge. So this was about 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, it was a big war in the summertime.
So
2015
thank you.
or 14, one of those years.
Okay. But I don't remember very well now. But
Laura,
just,
Tukitan 2014 or 2015?
14.
14.
So I was very sad because he was there inside.
Yeah.
And we before planned to visit Mexico. My
Yeah.
mom was there, my father.
Yeah.
You know, the summer trip of a month. And I was just sitting and waiting
In the
to have
war.
news because he couldn't text me or call me to say that he's safe.
Yeah.
So it was very, very, very scary now and stressful. So Baruch Hashem, okay, there is a happy ending. And my brother surprised me coming to my house with a ticket flight for Mexico. And what happened? I am waiting to buy myself. Yeah, Baruch Hashem.
But he got a pass to
get a pass
because he was a Chaya Boded. Basically, there's a rule that if you're a lone soldier, you get like a certain amount of time, like a month off to go home and visit your family. And it happened to be in the middle of the war, but he got his time and he got a ticket, and
yeah,
you guys were able to go together.
it's a miracle, and we were able to go together and we enjoy with the family, and well, it's a release really. Yeah. But you know, it's also I mentioned this because I want to show that we are a family that loves Israel and fight for Israel also,
and love each other.
Yeah.
So let's talk about conversion.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what your conversion process was like. Take me from the beginning.
Okay. I don't tell this a lot.
Except for that one time when you told it in a book, and now there are thousands of people that are reading it. But yeah, so not a lot.
And not only for you, okay? Don't tell anybody else.
Don't tell anybody. Secret book.
Okay. I made 2 conversions. Okay.
Yes.
The first one was in Bnei Menashe, the Beit Haredi, and something curious is that I made this conversion after 9 months.
Yeah, tell us that. That was so nice.
Yeah,
I remember that line.
I know that there are no casualty, but you know, for me it was like a period of time that I was getting prepared for this moment. And when I came out from the waters,
It was a
the
rebirth.
mikveh, I feel that like that I reborn.
Yeah.
It was very, very moving moment. I just cried at that moment.
And you felt new.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Well, it was amazing. It was like I am a new person.
And it was a faster process, right? It wasn't the regular process.
Okay, this is the second part.
Okay.
I made this conversion with the help of my rabbi, and after that, I also needed to stay in Israel. So in order to be in Israel and be a citizen, you need to have a recognized conversion.
Just to clarify, she converted with the Beit Din in Bnei Brak because it was the Beit Din of her. It was like the rabbinic.
It's a rabbinical court
of her family. It was like something that was important to your family to do it that way, and then she also had to do it according to Medinat Israel, according to the state of Israel, to have a recognized conversion here in Israel. So you did it twice, once for her soul and one for the state.
Right. One for the environment we were living, and also because we love this rabbi. Yeah, helped me a lot, and
it was very meaningful.
Yeah, it was very meaningful. You know, the process with the state of Israel is a little bit longer. So, but this is the way that people can become a citizen in Israel. You need to pass for this, or you need to go under this process in order to certificate your Judaism. Right. So at that moment, the Beit Din of Rav Karelitz wasn't recognized by the state. Today it is. So I needed also to make a conversion by the chief rabbinate, in order to become a citizen. So I was in the process, but when I made this conversion, they just said you cannot continue because this is against the law at that time.
Yeah.
So my rabbi helped me, and the miracle I called
Mhm.
is that in one day I opened a file, I made the baby, and at the same evening I went to the mikveh.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy.
Baruch Hashem.
Wow.
Yeah, 13 years ago today.
Yeah, it's
Impossible.
A little more bureaucracy today.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, but I feel special. So since then, I feel very like I have a special supervision. We said in Hebrew, Ashgacha Pratit,
Mm.
that everything that I do is like Hashem is with me. So it's a special feeling also in Israel.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's here, the place.
So tell me a little bit about the community that you found. I know, like in Rahavia and like the places in Anousim. Is this where your mom lives?
Yes.
Ah,
Good memory.
tell us a little bit about the community of people also from Spanish-speaking countries that you found and that really embraced you and that you've embraced.
Yeah. Baruch Hashem, in Israel, you have a lot of Spanish speakers.
Yeah.
Everywhere. But yeah, in Armon Natsik, for example,
Mhm.
we are living there like 10 years already.
Wow.
And there is a community of people from Puerto Rico, Brazil, Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, and Peru. So we met with friends, and yeah, they are all our family today. We are like sharing Shabbatot, festivals. So it's very nice. To have a community is very, very meaningful.
Of people who speak your language and are from your culture and really feel like home.
Right.
Makes a new place feel like home.
Right.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
important. It's great to meet new people and to expand and to try new things, but sometimes you just need a little bit of home.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today I have friends, Israeli friends, and from
Yeah,
abroad.
tell us about your Hebrew. I'm really so impressed with you.
Okay, my Hebrew Baruch Hashem today
It's excellent.
it's good.
Oh, it's excellent.
It's superb.
She's my
really good.
translator.
She's superb.
And yeah, Baruch Hashem.
So how did you learn Hebrew?
Because from the beginning here in the Ulpan, I made many Ulpanim in the university, private. My profession, I studied for management and tourism.
Right.
So I did it in Hebrew. So yeah,
That sounds
you
believable.
you must.
You must, but it's not easy to do.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work.
Baruch Hashem.
Wow.
And yeah, I was working for 5 years for Auto. Yeah, many.
It leads into my
many
next
roles.
question, which is, what role did Shavei Israel play in your story? Because I know where you're going next.
What do we do here? How did you arrive here? Okay, so almost 4 years ago, so fast, I received a call from someone from Chavez, and they asked me, "Are you interested? Do you want to hear? We are looking for somebody."
And you were working in the hotel management space at the time.
Yeah, in the hotel in
Right.
and then okay, I was like comfortable with my job, but always I dreamed that I want to work with Olim Hadashim and help people. I wanted to, I received at that time, and now I want to give. So I came to the interview. There were 3 interviews, 7 candidates, and they chose me.
Well, how could I not?
I feel very, very lucky, and sorry. With the time, I understand that this is my place. Really,
This is where you belong.
It's really a gift that you love your work and that you enjoy. is your passion, and also that you work with wonderful people. Really.
So this is one of my favorite stories. Tell us how your work at Shavei Israel and how you the role that you played when the rest of your family from Puebla was coming here to Israel, how you were able to help them.
Yeah, so I do many things. We have many projects in Chavez, but one of them is to guide the conversion process of people. We have programs in Spanish, English, Italian, and Hebrew. And so I need to basically to interview them and look over the documentation,
Right.
and organize the meetings and go to translate. Kind of a representative.
Yeah, an advocate.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what did you do? You did something very special for your family.
Ah,
You went and you got all the people here, their Tezahud, their Mitzvah, and you were able to be like,
right,
now
right,
you know what I'm talking
right.
about. Now she knows.
Many stories, Shira.
I know.
Okay. There is a, how do you say, principle. It's like the people who comes to Israel must be part of a community,
Right.
at least a year. So in the case of my family, we wasn't part of the community, mamash.
Right, because you were from Puebla.
Because we are
there
from
was,
Puebla,
there was no community
and
there.
at that time no community
Right.
there. So when my uncles came, like 3 years ago, they had this problem, but I was already working here. They started a process, but it was very, very slow. And there is a committee. They need to decide if to approve or no. So what I thought is to collect all the papers of the whole family that are living here.
So smart.
So that's okay. Committee C. They have a family.
They have a family.
Everybody is Israeli
Also,
citizen.
I am one of those people in the
family. and yeah, so I think they approve them because they have a family. They are in a religious frame, and they will receive support. Baruch Hashem, they pass the conversion.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So here's my last question.
Wait.
What are your hopes for your work here at Chavez, for yourself?
Okay. Many, many, but if I want to focus now is in to work for more people to come to Israel. I am like thinking about to make more projects or more ideas and getting volunteers, getting people who could help me to do it. And yeah, the main idea is to help more people to come back to Israel, like me, my family, and my friends.
This is amazing. You have such a beautiful story, and the work that you do is just so inspiring, Laura. The work that you do is so inspiring. I'm so inspired by all of you, and thank you all for coming onto the Zoom and to listening to these incredibly powerful stories. Do yourself a favor. Check out this book. It's called Layers, Personal Narratives of Struggle, Resilience, and Growth from Jewish Women. These are 34 true stories of Jewish women living in Israel from all over the world. And they're incredible. They're strong. You've heard from 2 of them tonight. There are 34 in here. There's so much that we can learn from them. And you can find this book on Amazon. You can find it on korenpub.com. The publisher is Koren Publishers in Jerusalem, Toby Press. And I'm sure we can post a link somewhere.
Yeah, we will.
And if you want a percentage off of your order, if you order from Koren, you could put in the code LAYERS 10. Layers and the number 10, and you'll get 10% off your order. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shira.
Oh, I've heard these stories before. I wrote these stories. I'll hear them 1,000 times. Hearing them in person is wonderful.
Thank you so much. So thank you to everybody, and see you till next time. Bye-bye.